for 12 years, then you coming to us now and talking to us as if we are fools. You think the Liberian people are fools? You want to bring commotion in our country? Let's take the world and see what is happening out there. We, as the people's deputies, must take it to our people.
Okay.
Hold town hall meetings once, twice, thrice maximum, and discuss it with the people. And from what the people say, because we'll have the press there, we'll have some of you there. When I'm holding my meeting or my meetings, you will be there. I will hold a meeting down West Point. I will hold a meeting at the Newport Junior High School. I will hold a meeting down the PHP Center Street area. I will hold a minimum of 2 meetings, but I would like to go 3 big ones that will have people assembled that are residents of our district and tell us how they feel. If the people themselves say, well, we want a war crime code, then we'll go to it. We will go to it. We are the people's deputy.
Politics is not stagnant. It is revolving. If I said this in the past about almost a year ago, and somebody decided to bring the cassette of oath today, it does not have any effect on our desire to endorse Honorable Jeremiah Cole on Wednesday. This Wednesday, we are going to go to Ganta in a number, hundreds of people to endorse Honorable Jeremiah Cole and our candidate for the MDR. That's what I know. Well, if I say, look, I don't want to eat GB right now, and then after an hour, I decide to eat, my stomach is okay, can I come in the GB and eat? Politics is not stagnant, I just told you. He has been, he's developmentally inclined on the ground, he got his any work all over the places in the district, in other areas. He's doing remarkably well, and so we will endorse him. One of the candidates that are running is the only MDR candidate that the CDC government will have to endorse also, because we're collaborating with them. The propagandists that recorded me secretly when I was speaking my mind at that time and decided to bring it up today, it's up to them. 4 days ago, I was home. I received no visitor. I was home. That's not true. No. I don't know when they did it, but they did it recording secretly. Whatever it is, the secret recording they're taking these days don't mean anything for me. We got to endorse Jeremiah Cole on Wednesday, and he will overwhelmingly defeat all the candidates in him. That's the new strategy they do these days. So it doesn't matter to me. If it was intended to destroy me or what, it doesn't touch me at all. Well, you better trust me, I'm a politician. A politician, politics, I just told you, is not stagnant, it's revolving. And sometimes something can cause you to say something one point in time, and it is resolved, you can change. So it doesn't matter. For me, what I will tell you is we are supporting Honorable Jeremiah Cole, and Jeremiah Cole is up to the task, and he will defeat all other candidates in the country.
Today is Friday, folks. What a pleasant way to welcome you to the weekend edition of Hard Talk on AB Radio 105.1. We are the official voice of Atlantic Broadcasting Corporation. We're beaming live and direct from the corner of Broad and Buchanan Streets, downtown Monrovia. Today is the 14th day of April. And somebody says this day is historic for us as a nation and people. Today in 1979, about 2,000 activists began what was planned as a peaceful march to the grounds of the executive mansion. The protest march swelled dramatically when the protesters were joined en route by more than 10,000 backstreet boys, causing the march to quickly degenerate into this orderly mob of riot and destruction. So good afternoon. If you have a friend to listen to this edition or join this edition of the Hard Talk, my name is Theo Williams. My colleague is Anthony Jiffan. John Blay. We'll drive you between 9 to 6. Today is a special edition of the program,
Right.
the Hard Talk on ABC Radio. We'll be going deep into the April 14, 1979 arrest riots. And guess who do we have as our guest onto this edition? We have our presidential hopeful, Councillor Theo Gonglo, one of the progressives. We also have Mr. John Stewart, another progressive, joining us this afternoon on the Hard Talk as we talk about the April 14, 1979 arrest riot. We'll also be talking about Councillor Gonglo's presidential bid. We'll be talking about his preparation and all like that. So invite a friend as we move along this afternoon on the Hard Talk. Having said that, let me take down the team song a little bit and join my colleague, Anthony Jiffan. Good afternoon. Good to be here. Today is a holiday, fast and prayer day, and we are here.
Yes, of course. This is what we love doing best. Others we love preaching. Others we love to speak in the interest of the people. Like Councillor Theo Gonglo. Maybe at times people say he's a poor man lawyer, but then we love disseminating information to our people. We believe that information is key to everything, and so that's why we here, even on the holiday, we have to be here to help our people out.
Great.
And so, with that being said, our wise voice for today says, "Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one." Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. And so you don't pray to have everything bread and butter, but pray that when difficulty comes, you are able to overcome.
Jesus even says similar to his disciples. He said it's not going to be easy.
Anyway, it's on a fast and prayer day. So you can preach now.
No, I'm not preaching. I mean, that is scripture, right?
Yes, of course.
Jesus said that to his disciples.
Yes.
So good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Hard Talk on ABC Radio 105.1. Theo Williams is my name, and my colleague is Anthony Jiffan. We have in studio two members of the Progressive Alliance of Liberia. And
yes, presidential hopeful. Theo
of course, yes. Presidential hopeful Councillor Theo Gonglo. And okay. We'll come to that.
Yes,
we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Yeah, we'll come to that. Anyway, you are off mark. Let's bring you on. Good afternoon, Councillor Theo Gonglo.
Good afternoon. It's good to be in your studio. The
Yes.
last time I appeared in your studio, you were up on Broad Street.
Yeah, great.
And now you have a better studio.
Ah,
Congratulations.
thank you. We also have Mr. John Stewart also joining us. He's a member of Moja. And Councillor Gonglo is also a member of Moja.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
How does it feel being here today? The both of you.
Great. Well, I say a moment of silence for the hundreds of people who were killed on April 14. We know that we claim that government killed 200, government admitted to killing 40. And those 40 were buried in mass graves behind the public works.
Okay.
Even up to today, their parents, their family members still consider them missing in action because the government did not display the bodies to ask their family members to come and identify the bodies so that they can be given decent burials. And that action of the government was irresponsible.
Okay.
Yeah.
To begin the conversation, Councillor Gonglo, let's talk about your presidential bay you've been cutting across the country, specifically Nima and other areas. How has it been?
It's been good. It can never be anything than good because, the people are the custodians of power. You want power, and the reason you want power, you have to go to them to tell them so that they can give it to you, willingly to be convinced. And so I'm raising the bar in presidential politics. People usually go to they stay in the capital city of Monrovia, of Liberia, which is Monrovia, and then they go to the county capitals. I am going to the villages.
Okay.
People in Jakaken, Roji will tell you, Councillor Gonglo came here. People in Dwaken, Roji will tell you. People in Pakwai town, across the river in Riverses will tell you. Oh. People in Bogeza will tell you, Councillor Gonglo came here. People in Zina Lomai up the hill will tell you. People in Pazagizia will tell you. People in Honiahun. People in Foya or Bakedu, where I slept. The Madingo town will tell you in Lofa County. People in Buenacole, in Bon County will tell you, or in Fokole, Bon County, or Kambu Town, Riverses, or Sud Town, Grand Bazaar.
You mean you've been to all of those areas?
These areas of the main roads in the, so many towns I've been to.
Wow.
Yeah, I can name towns comfortably across I've been to Sastown, the president's.
Sastown, Grand Creek County.
Hear the president's hometown.
Okay.
But, I don't think he had childhood friends there. But I went to Sastown. I went to Belwan.
Okay.
I went to Dubo. I went to City Ken, which is the oldest town in Maryland County, the first town in Maryland. That's where the group of people came from and spread all over Maryland.
Okay.
I was told that. But most important in my view, and I selected towns deliberately, I slept in Tucson, the hometown of former President Samuel Doe.
Wow.
As a Nimba person, that is significant in terms of unity and reconciliation.
Okay.
I slept in Tucson. I slept in Zwale, that's the home of the late General Thomas Kurumpa. I went to Pinestown. That's the home of the late Wasien, vice chairman of the first vice chairman of the PRC.
Okay.
So I've been to Blole, the hometown of Jackson Evdo, and I consider Blole in Nimba County as the political shrine of Nimba, and because that's the first place where the son of Nimba came from and ran for the presidency. So it's historic. I've been going all over the country. I stepped in Nagbena in Cape Mount County.
Okay.
I went to Herringstown in Buffalo County. I slept in Supplement Town in Buffalo County.
Wow. You're familiar with all of the names of those towns.
And the worst experience was leaving Kilipo Kamyeken to go to Whipple Kamyeken in River G.
Okay.
Normally, it is a distance of 20 minutes to 30 minutes when the road is good. And I've been on that road since 1979 because in 1979, I want to do some work for the Young Christian Student Movement as their president, national president. And I took a taxi from Hapo, 6 o'clock in the morning. About 9 p.m., I was in Monrovia. It does not happen these days. It cannot happen. From Kilipo Kamweken, I had an event that ended at 5 o'clock in Kilipo Kamweken. I sent my motorcycle man here to say, tell the people of Bipocan Weekend will be there at 6 o'clock. They were indeed waiting. My brother, I did not reach Bipocan Weekend until 1 a.m. in the morning because of bad road.
Okay.
Very bad road. I think there's picture of me on the YouTube, throwing shovels. I was not joking. We had to do, to intervene. And then when I went further on the road, I saw over 20 cars parked. Tankers, gas tankers, trucks, all stuck in the mud. The 3 cars we were carrying could not pass. We stayed there until 12:30 in the night before our cars passed through. And we actually left around 12:45 to reach around 1 a.m. in the morning. I cut some leaves around 9 o'clock. I was so sleepy. I put them on the ground. I was sleeping. Wow. They actually woke me around 12:30. Oh, the cars are off. That's how bad the roads in the southeast are now. And this is dry season.
Mm-hmm.
Right now the roads are worse than I've seen anywhere in Africa. It's not fair to the poor southeast. And in Tiamata, I was saying, the president from the southeast and the minister of finance from the southeast. And one young man cut me up and said, Councillor Gonglo, the entire government is from the southeast. They are just not treating us fairly.
I was just about to ask you about the reception.
Great reception.
You gathered from all of those
great
towns
reception. And the high point was Tuzon.
Tuzon.
They were excited.
Nigeria County.
They were excited that as a son of Nimba, I went to Tuzon and they offered me to sleep, and I slept the whole night. They danced. They cooked food.
Wow.
My delegation, by 9 o'clock, event was finished. They cooked food. By 11 o'clock, my delegation ate the food and left, and food left over. All right. And I went to Bablota in Grand I was well received. It's up the main road, about 30 minutes up the main road. When I went to Jackaken, I was well received. When I went to Philadelphia, Gold Mining, coming Grand Crew, I was well received. Everywhere I went, I was well received. And the reason, there were 2 reasons. One reason was, we've never seen a presidential aspirant come to our town.
Okay.
So for them, it was historic. They were happy about it. Second reason was my plan. I tell them, look, under my government, pregnant women, children under the age of 5, and all old people, all Liberians 65 years or up, will go to government hospital and clinics free of charge. They clap for that. I say, under my government, children from kindergarten to 12th grade will go to school free of charge with government providing copybooks, pencils, pens, textbooks, and free food. They clap for that. I say, we'll eliminate illiteracy in 2 years by making junior high students, high school students, and college students teach at least 10 persons in their communities after school for a stipend every month. They clap for that because I tell them, if you don't read and write, you can't use the phone. If you can't use the phone today, you're not living in the world. Mm-hmm. And I tell them that the young people are riding motorbikes and digging gold. That cannot be their life. I will change that story by putting free trade schools in each of the 15 counties for the young people to learn mechanic work, masonry, carpentry, tailoring work, all this, so they can have an alternative and a sustainable means of living. When I tell them that we'll put the public work yards back in all of the counties so that the roads can be constantly meeting as they were meeting in 1979 when I came from Kipamos to Monrovia without any hitch. The idea that people cannot go to Lofa during the rainy season, using car, people cannot go to the southeast during the rainy season or Bapolo, is a new idea that is based on complete negligence by the government. It is the government obligation to make sure that people move freely. It's a violation of freedom of movement. And the last thing I would do is I would change Liberia's story from being a rice importer to a rice exporter.
Okay.
By mechanizing rice production.
I'm concerned about your county, the county you hear from, Nima County. How is the reception there?
Great.
Are you getting
all started
the
from
support from the buyers?
Oh yes, big time. It all started
Some
from
of those
Nimba.
big names in Nima County, are they supporting you?
Well,
the likes of Senator Johnson.
He has a different party. We are in a democracy. The election is not by county, all right? Even people in the county have different political parties, and we should respect that, But majority of the people in the county are very happy that I stepped forward They see me like Jackson Hebdo. Everybody say, okay, since Jackson Hebdo in 1985, who cut across the country, we have another son of Nimba who is loved in other parts of the country. Like in Grand Julia, they call me Pulion, which means savior.
Okay.
In Maryland, they call me Wamu, which means bless us. In Cape Mount, they call me Tulian, stay with us. These are all lovely names.
Okay.
In Grand Bassana, I'm called Ghana. The mayor has come.
The mayor has come. Ghana G.
Yeah, Ghana Yi. So they're very excited that they have a son of Nimba whom they alone don't love exclusively, because even if Nimba votes for you 100%, you cannot be president.
Because what difference will you make when you are elected president of Liberia? What will be the difference?
I will change Liberia's story for the better. I want to be the project manager to change Liberia's story for the better, to make this country truly a sweet land of liberty for all. And Liberia, my dream is, I see Liberia as a rich country, naturally rich, that denies itself of the wealth on election day by electing people for burger rice, money, and liquor. A country that has fertile soil. You can grow rice one place for 4 years in this country without using fertilizer, and you will get good yield. And the soil has diamond, gold, iron ore, uranium, and you name it. So we cannot qualify as a naturally poor country. Our poverty is based on our mismanagement by the leaders we elect.
Okay.
There's no way that you take your brand new Mercedes-Benz and you say you are tired with the mechanics and take it to a carpenter and expect that will be fixed.
What are you insinuating?
I'm insinuating that I just told you, people who are elected to power don't know what to do and don't love the country. Otherwise this country would be much better than Botswana, that only has diamond and 30% of its land, that is arable land, is a landlocked country, but is well managed because according to Transparency International, it is the least corrupt country in Africa. But they have good leaders. 70% of the land area of Botswana is desert, and they only have one mineral resource. It's called diamond, and they are using that mineral resource to the extent that everybody who has been to Botswana will say, great infrastructure. You think you're in Europe, good educational system, health system on top, and they feed themselves. Not all of it, but they are using that 30% to feed a good bit of the people, the less than 3 million people. But on a small parcel of land, 30%, they are raising cows, sheep, and goats, and they are exporting meat to Southern Africa. Great management. If we had even halfway of that management attitude of our leaders here, Liberia will be counted among the richest countries in the world. And that is the reality that I want to bring. That if this country is properly managed, all Liberians will enjoy the natural wealth of this country.
Traveling around Liberia, some of the counties, you have a direct experience with the Bar Road network. Councillor Gonglo, what other experience do you have with the people across Liberia in terms of challenges that they face?
90% of the towns don't have hand pumps. Even where hand pumps were placed by some NGOs, they've broken down long time, and government has not stepped in to rehabilitate those hand pumps. I went to towns where people were drinking well water and running water. I drank some of the well water in some of the towns in southeastern Liberia. You have to be politically correct. So they bring you the cola nut and pepper and salt, and then they bring the water from the bucket, and they're giving cups of water. Everybody who drinking and then I drank some. All right. In fact, the funny thing is I don't drink alcohol, but it was in southeastern Liberia that I drank small cane juice to be correct, because they give you the cola nut, and the idea, the rule is that if you don't eat a cola nut and drink what they drink, then they will not talk to you. It means you don't accept them.
That's the tradition.
I drank at least a stopper full of cane juice, and then I had great conversation. But yeah, that's one of the things. Drinking water. Okay. And of course, like I said, everywhere I went, I tell people, I say, I want to change your life here and make Liberia a rice exporter and bring more make you produce more rice bar, government giving machines, tractors, caterpillars, and combine harvesters to all the farmers through the country, in the country through the farmers cooperatives in the 15 counties. Then you will now use cutlasses and the hard time of using cutlasses and hoe. And nobody can use cutlasses and hoe and produce even 4 clean bags of rice. So by the end of April, everywhere in Liberia, people will be going out of rice. So we need to change the mode of production, and that's mechanizing.
As a lawyer.
So people are really catching that. And then the other thing people are concerned about is the hardman business. All across the country, talking about ritualistic killings. They are afraid to send their wives to the farm alone. I know growing up in Mela, going to Mela public school, my mom used to tell me at the age of 7, when you come from school, come meet me on the farm, your food will be there. And when I tell the police story, that thing can happen here again. Then you want your child to die, your child alone walk on the road. And I conclude that all this hardman business is still connected to this high level of corruption. The fact that representative senator can get $30,000, everybody want to be senator. You are checking. Every district in this country now has more than 5 legislative candidates. And what increased it is the $30,000 that they received in 2021 and 2022. It makes them, it will change your life immediately. So everybody want to be, and people want to be minister, and still people want to be managing director. So you go to a witch doctor and say, I really want to be the president to appoint me managing director. Bring me him up in hype. I really want to win this legislative seat. Bring me him up in labor. I want to be minister.
Is that what you think?
That's what I think. But why 1979, the people that executed, you may not have been born or you're small, but all of them were big shots who were trying to maintain their position or get elevated, superintendent, representative, all big shots in government. So it's all around this. And that's why I say this broom, when we eliminate, when we sweep corruption from Liberia, not only will we have enough money to deliver social services, have good road, increase rice production, have good schools, good medical facilities and all that. But Liberians will be safer because there will be no more incentive to kill people secretly and engage in all the ritualistic killing is for ritual to get rich through getting government jobs to make free money through corruption.
As a lawyer, Councillor Gonglo, what will you say about the judiciary branch of government, or how do you intend to see that branch of government when you are elected president?
I've spoken about that a lot. Even people in the judiciary have spoken about it. They have been, head of the judiciary who have said the judiciary is corrupt. We have heard
that's the general perception.
President of the Trial Judges Association said the judiciary is corrupt. So we have to deal with that. And the way to deal with that is to promote the independence of the judiciary.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I will issue an executive order in the first 100 days.
Okay.
An executive order will be any minister or official of the executive branch of government. They are the one that usually very often, influence magistrates and all that to bring that big. If you interfere with the independence of the judiciary, you'll be dismissed immediately. All right? And you could be held accountable. You could be charged for obstruction of government function, all of that. Then I will also issue an executive order that no official government will interfere with police operation. Every country that is governed by rule of law must let the police do its work without interference. The police can never be professional in a country where big shots force the police to do selective application of the law, selective enforcement of the law. And that's why they say in this country, you know who I am? So in a country like the United States, they're not perfect, but when a senator in the United States commits a traffic offense, you get the same ticket that a janitor gets when he commits a traffic offense. That is the kind of thing I want to bring in this country. That everybody is under the rule of law and that no one is above the rule of law. Not even the president should be above the rule of law.
Okay.
Well, Councillor Gonglo is our guest, but we are here with him with Mr. John Stewart, a member of the Progressive, and they are all from the movement for
and both of us
justice.
are members of the Liberian People's Party, a party that came out of Moja.
Okay, Moja is a movement for justice in Africa. Yeah. Now we driving a little bit down to the infamous Rest Riot, even though they have different nomenclature for that riot, but history has carried it. It was a Rest Riot in Liberia that left many persons dead and over 500,000, according to reports. Over 500 persons were injured. Councillor Gonglo, today is April 14. How do you view today?
April 14 was really sad, and a sad contradiction for a country that had in its 1847 Constitution the right of the people to peaceably assemble and the right of the people to seek redress from the government, which was what the Progressive Alliance of Liberia, led by Gabriel Marcus Matthews, was doing in protest to the increment in the price of rice. At that time, soldiers were making $22. There was civil servants making very low money, maybe $20, $30. And they were increasing the price of rice to $30. That would be taking away somebody's home on salary, and you still have rent to pay and all of that. And so it was the government explanation was that increasing the price of rice would have motivated the farmers to produce more.
Okay.
But that was false. That was a flawed argument, because my father and mother growing rice in the interior with cutlasses and who could never have increased their production once they were using the same mode of production. Cutlasses and hoe. Government were not assisting farmers with machines or anything to increase the yields of on their farm. But we know that there was a rice importer in this country. The largest distributor of rice in the country at that time was Daniel Talbot, the brother of the president. So we saw in it a policy that was meant to benefit a family member, because Daniel Talbot was a rice importer and he was supplying rice all over. So he will have benefited from an increment in the price of rice, because he will have sold more rice, not the farmers in the interior.
But Councillor, go ahead. Anyway, go ahead.
No, so that policy came out, especially with people, civil servants were making low salaries, the soldiers and all of that, and it showed during the demonstration. The police officers were making maybe $60 about that time, and they were more pro-government, and the soldiers were anti-government, at least the non-commissioned officers at that level. Because when the police started shooting at us, the demonstrators, I was demonstrating on that day. Me and the former director of the archives, Blossai, we still call each other partners today, because two of us were in the crowd. People were being shot by near us. A lot of people got wounded. We just got saved by the grace of God. And then the soldiers started shooting at the police right down Busa quarters, because the soldiers identify with the protest more than the police because of their pay level. But maybe Stewart can say more. I was a demonstrator. Fortunately, I didn't go to jail. Stewart went to jail, so he can tell you about that's how you got to jail and what happened in jail, because I was outside.
Before we go to Mr. Stewart, Councillor Gonglo, let me know from you, what did you people achieve then by staging that protest?
We achieved something. The president of Liberia set up a special commission headed by a seasoned lawyer, Councillor Nettie C. Brunel. And the investigation showed that there were people in government that were conflicted. James T. Phillips, Minister of Finance, was removed from office as a result of the commission's report. The Minister of Agriculture, under whose administration the price of rice was increased.
You mean Florence Chinoway?
Yes, was dismissed. The Minister of Justice, Oliver Bright, who ordered the police to shoot at the demonstrators, was dismissed. Which means people in government did wrong. And actually, the family members of those who were killed on April 14, on the basis of that report alone, can really file, could have filed and could still file damaging suit against the government, because the government acknowledged that its principal actors were wrong.
It is perceived that
so it helped the government to look inwards. The government was challenged to critically examine itself, which was an achievement.
And then it is perceived that many of you who were actively involved in activism were the ones who instigated most of the violence in the country.
That is not
Do you
true.
agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that, because the demonstration that morning, me and Bloodside, for example, were armless, were moving. And that is what really exposed President Talbot. Because you see, how can government shoot at armless people? We at the University of Liberia were idealistic, we're learning political science and talking about the rights of the people, reading the Constitution. We were just marching peacefully to go and tell President Talbot, do not increase the price of rice, given the level of poverty. It was a peaceful democratic exercise that was made violent by the government. So we did not begin violence at all. We were intellectuals, we were scholars, we were looking at, the Constitution provides for this. And we're going by the letter and spirit of the Constitution. And we want our president to speak to, and let me tell you that we had great respect for President Talbot. Stewart and myself were students. You remember when Rachel Weeks and others wanted to increase the tuition of the University at the University of Liberia, and we went and carried a petition. At that time,
there was no Weeks at the time. It was between Dr. Blamo. It was no Weeks.
But no, Weeks was not president, but he was on the board.
Oh yes,
he was on the board.
Yes,
and we heard that it was Weeks was saying, "How can I program the university?" Blah blah blah. So we carried a petition. It was read by Global Colley, who in adult age was ambassador of Liberia to Guinea. All of us are being acting different. So she read a petition that day. And I remember after reading the petition, the president said, President Thomas said, he shook all of our hands as we entered his office, right? He said, I can't tell you I will not increase the price of the tuition, because I have to respect the board. But I'm happy that you brought a petition to me, because I heard you people are going to demonstrate. But you people acted responsibly as university students. Truly, my precious jewels, you brought a petition to me. This is orderly. So I don't promise that the tuition will be increased, but I will intervene on your behalf to the board. I will talk to the president of the board of trustees, Richard Harris, Speaker Richard Harris, and other members of the board, so that they don't increase. But I don't promise you that will happen, but I will intervene. And then he started a discussion. He said, I think we need to do more for the students. I think it was Stewart who raised it. He said, and there's even unemployment evolving among the students, because some students graduate from continental talking about they don't have jobs. And then Stewart said, but why don't we do this national service that is in Nigeria? And then President Talbot said, I'm just giving how he was an intellectual. He would discuss with people on all of that. That April 14 didn't present him well. It was a misstep, because Oliver Bright was a very emotional person, And so he said, then Stewart said, everybody graduates, you get a job. Then President Thomas said, oh yeah, and then at least you pay you $150, the students $150, and you graduate. And Stewart said, no, at least $300. We had a kind of lively discussion. So he was largely a good person, all right? But I think he was caught between the conservatives and and we who were putting pressure to open up the society.
Okay.
And he wanted to change, but he didn't feel strong enough to just move and leave the old guys behind, and became a victim of that indecision.
Okay, so
That's how I look at it.
let's go to Mr. John Stewart. Mr. Stewart is also a member of Moja. He witnessed the riot. He was part of it as well. Just give us your own account, Mr. Stewart. Let's hear you.
He was even in jail.
Yes.
Well, prior to the April 14th, the Movement of Justice in Africa was holding an anniversary program at the Sports Commission. And that was on the 18th of March. And as usual, during those programs, we invite speakers to make remarks, including officials of government. And on that day, Mr. Bacchus Matthews.
In fact, I'm not cutting off. Toba was a registered member of Moja.
Yes.
And other members of the government joined Moja actually from the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. So you follow your own.
So, you see, Moja was the liberation support movement
For
Southern Africa.
And Angola, other places.
Okay.
Yeah.
And President Toba was in support of the liberation of Southern Africa, Angola, and other places.
Okay.
And that's why we're speaking against apartheid. In fact, he had a liberation fund. So,
And don't forget that in 1960, Liberia, Ethiopia took South Africa to the World Court.
Yeah.
So they had this
International
tradition
Court of
of supporting the liberation movements.
Okay.
Nelson Mandela came here, got a Liberian passport. Several other came here and were supported. But the thing here is that
Mariam Makiba lived here.
yes,
Hugh Masekela lived here.
yes, Nina Simone lived here.
Okay.
We had a professor at the University of Vusmake.
Vusumzi Make. He was married to Maya Angelou, and Maya Angelou came to the University of Liberia, and the late Professor Agnes von Bomus, who was director of the University Chorus, invited her, and she met with us. We had long discussions, but at the time, I had no idea that she had been married to Professor Vusumzi Make.
Okay.
A very big man from South Africa. So, but a lot of these people came, Stokely Carmichael, Sam Nyoma. We hosted all these by university.
Yeah.
Coming back to the Res Riots, at the program, at the Sports Commission, when Mr. Bacchus Matthews announced that his organization, the Progressive Alliance, was going to hold a protest demonstration against the price of rice on the 14th of April. And this was on the 18th of March, we had this program. And it was received with very wild applause. Why? Because times are tough, difficult. At the time, the Ministry of Planning, in its official reports, noted that the average family of 4 or 5 in Monrovia needed an income of at least $125 a month to be able to survive. But you had families, 4, 5, 6, 7, making $22 a month. And I say so because in the military, they were the lowest paid. Yes.
Making $22
$22 American dollars a month. Why?
That's the currency we had.
That was the currency we had.
Okay. And
that was the pay structure. I worked as a customs officer from 1973 to 75, and my salary was $77.66.
Okay.
But
as a customs officer.
As a customs officer.
Okay.
All right. Now imagine, and I was supposed to be among those who were better paid. But a soldier, $22 a month. And I was in the militia at the time. We used to joke our colleagues, fighting for bony tail, the PFC rank. They used to call it, jokingly call it bony tail, to get $25 a month. People taking their salary of $22, giving it to the commanding officer to be able to get a rank of a bony tail, PFC, just one strike.
Okay.
So these were the conditions. And when Bacchus made this announcement, the government came and said, look, President Tubman wrote a letter to Bacchus Matthews and said, we want you, he wanted Bacchus to lead a people's delegation to the mansion to discuss the rights issue.
Okay.
At the time, I was chairman of national affairs at the University of Liberia, student union. So I led the Liberian, the university student delegation to the mansion along with others. And we met with the president.
Okay.
The Minister of Agriculture, Florence Chinulu, was there. She spoke, defending reasons why the price of rice should increase. Besides,
what did she say?
She said it was justified. It was going to stimulate productivity.
Okay.
They wanted to stimulate productivity, so Liberian farmers, knowing that they will get more, they will produce more.
Okay.
But the drawback was that these people were using age-old implements. The implements of production were very primitive, and using those implements of production, they couldn't.
Okay.
Now, mind you, in the elite, there were people who had big farms. James T. Phillips, the Minister of Finance, had a large expense. Yes. The Minister of Finance, the previous Minister of Finance at the time, Stephen Tubber, the brother of the president, also had a big farm. President Tubber himself had a big farm.
Okay.
The Speaker of the House had a big farm. They all had big rice farms.
Okay.
So if the price of rice had increased, they were going to be the direct beneficiaries. And if the price of rice increased, those who were going to have spin-off negative effects on the rest of the population, particularly amongst the soldiers. You making $22 a month, and you got to pay $15 for a bag of rice. How much you have to put clothes on your children and send them to school and all of that.
Exactly.
So we went to the mansion. We met with the president. We made our representations. We begged him, implored him not to increase the price of rice. He said, "Okay, we'll hear from you."
Okay.
We never heard from the president again, and until the day of as the rice riots approached. Now, at that time, during that period, we were also in.
Call it a day of protest. Don't use that riot.
Yeah. It was the police riots, actually. Because the police that invaded the power headquarters, firing tear gas and shooting up people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
that's why tear gas.
So
that's how the whole thing spark out.
You were marching to the
no, before the march. What? Anyway, but we're having a reorganizational congress of the Liberian National Student Union
at Cottington.
At Cottington, we tried to reorganize the Liberian National Student Union, but we had faced so many obstacles from the government. At the time, the Minister of Youth and Sports was Mr. Estrada Bernard, and they were vehemently opposed to the idea of National Student Union. But we outwitted the government because we went and did our research and found out that the Liberian Student Union was Liberian National Student Union. LINSU was founded in 1959 and enacted into law. So we pulled that out. In fact, they wanted the U.S. Student Union to dovetail into FLY. We said, no, we already enacted into law and got this. So that's how we remain standing. So we're having a reorganizational congress, inviting at the time other colleges, like Rick's had a junior college. Cottington was not in the initial formation, but Cottington and the Tubman College. No, the Tubman College. Yeah. So we're at Cottington. The student leadership, part of the student leadership was at Cottington, and part was in Monrovia. I was one of those who were at Cottington. And on the day of the riots was the day that we had elections for our leadership. And we were monitoring the radio and we heard the news that all these things were happening. In Monrovia, there was shooting. But prior to then, we had received reports that the government was going to they were going to shoot. Some contacts in the security went to us. Yeah. So the point here is that, so this was the case. What do we do to influence government or influence our people to call the demonstration off? Because we had the information that the government was going to shoot. So by the time there was only two radio stations, ELWA, ELBC.
All right.
And people conceived to be opposition elements could not have access to the public radio. ELWA could not broadcast anything political, only news.
So this thing has been happening way back.
News from Lena.
News from Lena. So we said, okay, how to get the message out? In fact, the best thing to do is to go, the Moja leadership decided to go to meet with the PAL leadership, Vargas Matthews.
Progressive Alliance.
Yes. So when we got to the palace headquarters that evening, around about 8 o'clock, the place was very crowded. And we decided to discuss, but there was no way to discuss. So we decided, okay, let's go for confidentiality purposes. Let's go into the cemetery. You backers, you bring your top people, we will bring our people, and we'll go into the cemetery to discuss, because there was so much a lot of noise, people, So we went
to play now how you were engaged.
Not to play, well, to discuss the information that we had gathered that they were going to be shooting the government troops were going to open fire and kill people.
Okay.
So we said we have to call this demonstration off.
Okay.
Because of the reports we're receiving that government is going to open fire. And we had this information from top security sources. From the government itself. There were people in government who didn't like the line of action. Oliver Bright, the Minister of Justice, was one of those who was pushing that line. That they should pay, they should set example. This thing was going too far, they should set example. So we met and we talked about it. And the reaction of Bargos Matthews, was that we'll hold this demonstration anyway. If the government kills 200 people today, tomorrow we'll go back. We'll do that until the government resigns. So Dr. Formula said, look.
Bargos Matthews said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dr. Formula said, no, this is not practical, because we don't have anything to defend the people. So we can't put the people out there in the streets. And risk. So the best thing to do is to call off. Eventually, he agreed. Matthews agreed to the suggestion. We'll call a demonstration off. But how to get this message across? Okay. At the time, the old man Albert Port, the late Albert Port, was commuting between the mansion, the leaderships of both organizations on how to call this demonstration off. And he wrote in his pamphlet, the day Monrovia stood still after, recounting all of those developments. He went to cross to Bensenville, where President Tubble was, pleading with him, Mr. President, I hear you're going to use force to crush this demonstration. Please don't. And Oman Port's account as recorded in the day Monrovia stood still, the president, he went to his knees. The president said to him, government cannot afford to look weak. Later on, after the riots, the disturbances,
government cannot afford to look weak.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means that
they will not succumb or what?
Yeah, there was pressure, and to say that you will not increase the price of rice was to make government look weak.
No, don't shoot.
Yeah,
at the people. The reaction was government cannot appear
to look weak. And then President Tubble said,
President, don't shoot at the people.
And President Tubble later said on record, he ordered his security forces to shoot at the lower extremities, meaning the legs. But you tell a soldier shoot the legs,
there could be
they'll be the stomach.
Of course.
So
we even get crippled as well. Yeah.
Yes. So we had that engagement, but we couldn't get the message out to the people. Couldn't get the message out to the people that the riots. But in the meantime, people are converging at headquarters.
In fact, let me.
So the difficulty was to get the message across.
Right. Yes. Let me say this.
You did not have the medium.
Actually, it was the government that promoted the demonstration.
Oh, how?
Yes. The government 2 days towards the demonstration was like, every 5 minutes, news flash. We are calling upon the Liberian people not to come out on Saturday, April 14 to demonstrate. But that they were actually promoting the demonstration.
On the national broadcast.
Yes.
And they were also asking you to stay off the street to avoid
that.
Yes.
What I am saying at that time, the leadership will stay away. But how were the people in Ghana's the group that came from Ghana's the leadership had no way to get on the radio to explain, because that's the only authentic voice they were listening to.
How did you pass on the information in the first place?
Oh, the information was passed out in a community with leaflets.
Maybe you use that same medium to
not at that hour.
During that hour, it was tense now, and the only thing that could have reached the majority of the people was on the eve of the demonstration, which was April 18, when all of these discussions are being held, was the radio.
Okay.
But I think
so you denied the radio.
Yeah.
But I think, have you agreed with the government that indeed we're not going to protest. Give us time on the radio. Let's tell the people that indeed the protest or our action will be another time.
No, but you're assuming that there was this kind of dialogue going on. There was no such dialogue. After we met with the president and he said he was going to get back to us, he never got back to us.
Okay.
And the on the eve of the demonstration on April 13th, he sent for university student leadership.
Yeah,
because the university student leadership had produced a leaflet calling all university students to rally up to support the march.
The march, yes.
Okay. You see, so they sent for the student leadership and asked for the student leadership
in GV12. I missed that meeting. I had just come to town.
Yes. I was in town, but I didn't go to that meeting. I was on my way to Cuttington. I didn't go to that meeting. But our vice president of the student union, Siafa Kamara, went to the meeting.
Because Justin had gone to
Lomé,
Togo for a meeting.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and Justin Wolokoli was the student council president.
Dr. George Bole was assistant minister of education at the time. So when they got to the mansion, they took the leaflet and gave it to Dr. George Bole to read. Bravo, bravo, bravo. All students, university turn out to support the demonstration. That's basically the essence of what I read.
Yeah.
But that meeting was very tense.
Very.
Because
and the American, Dr. Meriton and Brian Sherman, the president of the university, were invited to that.
Yes.
Meeting.
And she was
and
firm
that
that
government was there.
Yes. And so they asked who published this leaflet. So the acting president of the student government, Siafa Kamara, stood up and said, I take responsibility, Mr. President. Then the brother of the president,
Frank
Tower said,
you irresponsible gigafly.
First he asked, he said, what's your name? My name's Siafa Kamara. What grade you in? Siafa told him, I'm a senior. He said, you said that, you damn irresponsible gigafly.
Wow.
Yes.
Frank Tower said that.
Yes. But it was very tense. The demonstration was on 14th. And on the 14th, I true to what they were saying, that what we had, information we gathered that they were going to be shooting, there was shooting.
Okay.
So at the Congress, we had to close the Congress earlier than anticipated. Now, attending the Congress were international representatives, one from the International Student Union, one was Russian, one was Senegalese, and another was from Hungary.
Okay.
They came, they were arrested.
Who arrested them?
The government. Dusty Wolokoli had attended the students program reorganization and All Africa Student Union meeting in Lomé, Togo. And from Lomé, Togo, he came along with that delegation that came to witness our reorganizational congress.
All right.
And so they were arrested. The NSA published leaflets. Archie Williams, you has copies of those leaflets now. He can show them to you. He got it in his collection. Yes. That we had come from Lomé with subversive elements. My home was raided.
Okay.
My room was looted. My mother was detained. They sent.
And she was working with the government then, right?
No, she was just an ordinary teacher.
Yeah, okay.
Just an ordinary teacher, but she was detained. She was going to Banga because she hadn't seen me. We went to Banga, and we coming back from Banga after the April 14th thing, we had to go into hiding. So she hadn't seen me. She decided to go. She didn't know where I was. When she was going to Banga to go find where I was, and she was arrested on the highway, interrogated for hours, made her sit down on the ground for hours. So, but anyway, to make a long story short, it was the government that actually reacted. Promoted it, and then we were the victims. And then after that, there was mass arrest. My name, that of Marcus Matthews, Samuel Jackson, Oscar Kuya, James Yasia were placed on a wanted list, 5,000 wanted poster list. Reward, 5,000 reward.
And you guys were in hiding.
We're in hiding. So we decided, and Oman Port had made contact with us where we were in hiding. Said, look, the best thing to do is to give you, it's for you guys to turn yourselves in, but that then gives some guarantees that you'll not be shot on sight. So we wrote the president a letter. So, Mr. President, we would like to turn ourselves in based on the announcements you got on the radio. But because we don't want to be victimized by any bounty hunter looking for $5,000, we want guarantees of safety. We turn ourselves in. We'll be prepared to face any court trial.
Okay.
Port, the late John Conway, we were hiding at the home of Miss Muriel Best in Painesville.
Okay.
Mr. Kenneth Best's sister.
All right.
And coming with them myself. And from there, we were coordinating things, student movement. We were able to send one student leader, Boy Masoni, out of the country. He went to the BBC.
Yeah.
And were able to get some messages to the Pope.
To the Pope.
Pope sent messages.
Yes.
Because it was clear. There were plans to show firm examples. I mean, kill some people and everything will be all right. So when we turned ourselves in, were taken to the mansion by a delegation, Bishop Brown, Reverend Tomo Reeves, Reverend Port, and all of that. And when we got to the mansion, there was a whole array of government officials. The speaker, the only official who was not there, but came in later after the meeting started, was Bishop Warner, who was the vice president. But Madam Sirleaf, I'm not too sure. It's been a long time now, but the entire cabinet, everybody was there. When Bishop
Madam
Brown,
Sirleaf was not a minister yet.
No, she was not.
Because she was a minister. She became minister after the Brunel Commission report, and her boss, because she was deputy minister when Jim T. Phillips was removed and made her minister.
So Councillor Gonglo, lives were lost during this protest organized by you and others. Do you regret those lives?
Well, let me say,
look, we regret the lives, the death, and we could have died ourselves. But we don't take responsibility for that. It was the government irresponsible act. They overreacted. The late Bishop Francis said, between Tolbert and Tubman was repressive, but he was a politician. Because I understand that the 1955 march, similar march was in 1955. They said Tubman came out and joined the protesters and danced with them and calmed the tension. And in the night when everybody was sleeping, pick up the ringleaders of the demonstration, which then was different. His strategy did not cause life like that.
With the anger in your faces, would you have allowed Tubman to join you in that march?
Which anger?
Which anger?
Rest will increase.
Look, every time we saw President Tolbert, people would like to see their leaders. When President Tolbert come and say, yeah, what you say, want to, receive your petition, all of that, the petition would have been received. What would have happened?
I heard you mention the conservatives. Who were the conservatives in all of this?
You mentioned one.
All right.
Frank Tolbert, Richard Herring, the hardcore of the Tree Party.
Let me tell you something.
Wow.
While we're in prison, we were arrested.
How long were you in prison, Mr. Stewart?
I was in prison from April 22nd to June 26th. June 26th, President Tolbert declared general amnesty.
April 22nd.
And you know the reason? OAU was coming.
To June 26th.
To June 26th.
Wow.
President Tolbert declared general amnesty on June 26th in a speech to the nation.
Yeah.
And we're proud of them. While we're detained, we have still not been charged.
And it was prior to OAU, right?
Yes, it was prior to OAU. And we're detained for about a week. And Port went to see us. He said, I learned that the government is going to appoint, first he said, I learned that Councillor Chesson will be coming here to offer representations for you people. But my advice is to not accept his representations because he's not sincere, because President Tolbert, I understand, will be appointing him as Minister of Justice.
Okay.
And
And because Chesson was power lawyer prior to you people going to jail.
Yes. Chesson was lawyer for PAL, PAL.
Okay.
So he came to the prison. Yeah. We didn't hold any substantive discussions with him. And at the prison, there was the only person who was not in the prison with us from the hierarchy of the Progressive Alliance was Marcus Matthews. He was detained at the NSA.
Okay.
But the rest of us were detained at the Central Prison.
He was a lead man in this whole campaign.
Yes.
Marcus Matthews.
Yes.
Yeah. So while we're detained there, then they brought the writ.
So where was Dr. Toban Antipote?
He was not arrested.
Okay.
He was not arrested.
But he was part of the protest.
Dr. Formula was arrested.
Okay.
He was actually he was in Grand Jeddah at Podiko. Inspecting the Suzuku rice project there.
Okay.
So he was not in town.
Yeah.
He was not arrested.
So I want you to look at 1979 rice situation. Challenges Liberians were faced with, leading to your uprising against the government of President Thomas.
Please correct.
Protest.
Okay, protest. Leading to your protest. Leading to your peaceful march, as you will want to call it.
Yes,
Which
but we didn't have arms.
Which dramatically degenerated to something else.
Who opened fire? We were not carrying arms.
Compare those days to today, when you still see Liberia in the dungeon of poverty.
Oh, let me just say one thing.
Okay.
Let me just say one thing. At the time, in 1979, 3% of the population was accounting for more than 60% of gross national product, GDP, gross domestic product. 3% of the population. Meaning
they were enjoying all the money.
Only a few people were eating everything.
Okay.
Today, it's even less than 2% of the population accounting for more than 60% of GDP. And we see it. You can see it. We all see it. Just a few people enjoying.
Today, back then, about 3%.
Yeah, 3 to 4%.
3 to 4% of the population was enjoying the entire country resources. That's what you mean,
right?
When you talk about
the bulk of it.
Okay, and today, less than 2%.
Yeah,
2% or less than that.
Yeah,
that means that are enjoying.
And besides that, income inequality has increased.
Okay, so
the gap is widening.
On your question, you're saying
yes
that what do we see today? Situation has not changed because from one bad government, the next group of government learn from the bad government before and do the same thing, even perfect it and do better. So I'm stimulated by what Albert Einstein said, that the world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them do evil without doing anything. We have a situation where that style of governance has impoverished this country to the lowest level, that I usually say, I see Liberia now in the ICU, in the intensive care unit. I know better. I love my country. I cannot stand by. And that is why the rest of us who are still surviving, they're supporting me, and a lot of Liberians are supporting me for us to change that situation. I feel it a national duty to bring in a different style of governance that puts the people's interest first and my interest secondary. It hasn't changed. This is the thing that has deteriorated to this level, where the president in power built 47-story building in the first 8 months is not a laughable matter. Yeah, scandals, $16 billion, $25 million, 9 embassies saying that the government of Liberia stole their money. They wrote an open letter to the president, including the American embassy, United Nations, all that. You took our money from central bank without our consent. That is theft. Legislators sitting down and saying, oh, when we go home to our people, they ask us to build them market, to build toilet, to do hand pumps. So we are going to take $30,000 each, and that come to $3,090,000, and they put a caveat: this money cannot be audited, thereby promoting theft, right? That's how it has degenerated. And so the president in power will go down in history as the first president who has built more private homes for himself than all of the presidents of Liberia combined, from J.J. Roberts to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. So we reached the height of that level of insanity in government, that level of reckless disregard for the interests of the people. We cannot sit by to let it. So we are encouraging our people. We are telling them help is on the way. We cannot live this kind of situation. And I heard one official of CDC saying that, my people, we should have done a lot for you, but we didn't do it. So vote us so we can do it the second time. I said, it beats logic, because when you're approaching a woman, that's the time to do all the good things. You can't say, I love you, you're my girlfriend, but when I marry you, then I'll give you gifts, I'll do all the other things.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah, so your girlfriend,
people say,
you are a boyfriend, you're not doing anything for the woman. But you say when you marry her, then you do everything. But I am telling Liberian people that is a lie. They fail to do it now, they will not do it the second, because in the second round, second term, there will not be anything that will be fighting for, because that would be the last time. It will be reckless if they did this in the first term.
Along the way, we might come back
There will be more corrupt.
We might come back to
his presidency.
Your presidency and
presidential bid,
other political issues in Liberia. But let's see whether we can pick few calls.
Mr. Stewart, you were coming in.
Yeah, I was saying something. If you just look at current statistics, look at the Liberia Demographic Health Survey report. Look at it. Tells you over 40% of women in the whole northwestern Liberia never been to school. Never. Where do those statistics come from? Do they come from progressives?
What's the source of that?
Liberia Demographic Health Survey report.
Liberia Demographic.
I think it was done by legislature.
It was always done
by
official
government
official
agency.
Okay.
Official. Look at the children in school. School-age children that not in school. All of it tells you,
because their parents have money.
Who created those statistics or those stats? Were the progressives that created those stats? Government. No. On the government.
So you think the progressive did nothing wrong?
We're never in charge of government.
No, but we're following the law.
Even you guys from Moja did nothing wrong.
No, the law was you have a right to freely assemble.
Okay.
And we're conscientizing the people about their rights.
Okay.
It was not physical. It was our right to educate people that they have a right to be catered to by the government. We have freedom. We have a right to freedom of expression. That's why today I'm the #1 lawyer for all journalists in this country, because I believe that you cannot have democracy without freedom of expression.
Okay.
Until 1985, we couldn't vote. 1985, I was over 30 years old, but it was my first time voting. Yes, because the laws at the time did not permit
you had to own property.
You
had to own property to vote, not just to be voted for. You had to.
So today you see Zogo voting. So how do you think it came about?
It means
we were whipped. We went to jail.
It was through your intervention.
Yes, we paid the price.
So it means
we paid the price. Our generation paid the price. Yeah, he almost died.
But you live here. You are affected by any decision.
Oh yeah, but
others live here too.
Was you could not cast ballot if you didn't vote. I witnessed the primary chieftaincy election in 1968 when I was young. My father was he was representing his friend Peter Dolly, and they were putting people on the line. You pay tax, where you don't have to put you on the line. At the time, people used to stay in line to vote. Now it's secret ballot, right? So I saw them putting people on the line because they didn't
pay hot tax.
They didn't because you had to own hot before you pay hot tax. So they couldn't vote. They had no right to vote.
Okay, Councilor.
So we challenged that. It was true Moja that hot tax ended.
Okay.
It was true Moja that Pioneers Day.
So Moja did a lot of things in this country.
Oh yeah, we have Pioneers Day, right?
Yes,
we start Pioneers Day. We start
Matilda
Day.
Oh, okay. So Councilor Theo Gonglo, political leader of the Liberia's People Party and a member of Moja. We also have Mr. John Stewart, another member of Moja here in our studio. Today. And I must admit, we're learning a lot from the both of you.
Of course, yes.
It's a wonderful conversation.
And the lines are
already blinking. So let's take some calls, Anthony.
0777 105 100 0555 105 100. Those are the numbers you can call. Please walk away from your radio or else we'll have you off the line. The first person is here. Hello. Hello, what's your name? Where you call from? Go ahead, Abeningo. Thank you, my brother. Another person here. Hello. Hello. Good evening. What's your name? From where you call? Go ahead, Victor.
I want to say thank you to the two distinguished Nigerians. You know, for me, that had been full perception that, you know, the progressive process of their explanations. And I wish and I am appealing to them so that I can do more of this because to enlighten the public mind. Because what we had when they were doing all these things, we were not around. So the only thing they can do right now is to disseminate this information. Because, you know, from my reading, I never laid up at research and a lot of research.
Okay.
Who is talking for that country? Who are those certain things for that country? They are the one who can be in a zero country. But in Liberia, people who struggle, who carry those separated pockets for, you know, like typical example, the people separated pockets on what channel they had, something in everything. So people who struggle by that country, like we struggled from 1978. You were put in jail. 1984, you were put in jail. 1999, you were put in jail. And you resigned, you were crucified. These are the people that are supposed to lead our country because they know the importance of government.
Thank you.
No high grade for government. Because people like Joe Walker.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
How are you? Good day. Good afternoon.
Good evening. What's your name? Where you call from?
Thank you so much. My name is Benedict Victor. I'm calling from New Material State. Let me say hi to the veteran, our dad, the incoming president of the Corona Bureau.
Go ahead, Benedict.
Yes, and thank you for the sacrifices you guys made in the 70s and the 80s. And for me, I love that so much. I appreciate you guys. And today, the situation still going on with it. And popular men who the Labrador love them. And to the contrary, so I want to say to you that when you are elected, hopefully by the Labrador people, please make sure if the person is not a foreign soil, it's big to FDA.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
We the foreign soil, and we have been marginalized, go to the country, they don't never for the foreign.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name? Where you call from?
So my name is Jiffan. I joined from the to Johnsonville.
Go ahead.
And let me say good evening to our father in studio. And I must admit, Honorable Congo is one of those who ever like going won the Lord. It's just that Liberia is quite unfortunate. We need people like Theo. But then sometimes because it's not the perfect thing, you cannot see the applications. That's why you not see another Theo become president. But my question
to him is, because I agree he has led so much, and in fact, in the early time when he was Solicitor General and other stuff, his participation has been clearly seen. No one can honor him for that.
All right.
But in Africa, in Liberia, politics is not really about. We are not seeing people pushing too much for a policy idea.
Go ahead with the question.
They will speak to policy, but then people will want to mostly go for the majority side. Sometimes it's not really possible for a person like Theo to win. But my question to him is there any problem whether policy is different or something about on Ambassador Bouaka that can hinder him from collaborating with Ambassador Bouaka?
Thank you. Thank you. He taking note. Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to those veteran field.
Go ahead. Your name and where you join us from?
I join you from the historical barrel of Kuta. This is the first time.
Wow, Mr. Tan, go ahead.
Yeah, I want the veteran to explain for upon the return from Maria Central Prison. What was the advice he gave Samuel doing the enlisted concerning those political prisoners? And I want you to retrospect on the Southern War. What is true that some crew people were denied joining the army only because they knew what happened?
Okay, thank you. Hello.
You're taking notes.
Yes, sir.
Lawrence Spencer?
Yeah, thank you, too. I'm Lawrence Spencer. I'm in Johnsonville Township.
Why, Lawrence?
And currently today, I was born while the veteran studio was not happy. Yeah, seriously, today's my birthday.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you, Jiffan. Let me say good afternoon to Councilor Bongo and the other senior brother studio. You know, I mean, for us, we appreciate the role that the progressives play. It's just that there have been a lot of contradictions in the foundation that the progressives lay for our country. For example, where Councilor Bongo was then lamenting the issue of bad governance, where today our country is now rated as one of the most hungry countries, among the Committee of Nations, because what the progressive fought for, multi-party democracy, we're not there for people to ascend to power. I want to believe that the progressive idea was about transforming Liberia, where we can have a state that all Liberians can be proud, but all a sad note to the country that the council say are degenerated. And I want to end this note by advising Councilor Bongo by craving with him to collaborate with Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings is one of the best sons of this country. Why it's true he may not have been from the progressive background, but Councilor Bongo, I want to encourage you, right? He's your little brother. I want you to collaborate with him so that we can transform our country.
Thank you. Thank you for campaigning for Cummings.
Cummings will be here. What? You said something recently, Councilor Gonglo. You said
somebody
Mr.
said
Bouaka will be your advisor and Cummings will be what? Is it? Is it?
Cummings will be your, you say?
Commerce Minister.
Oh, Commerce
Minister.
Yeah.
And
so Lawrence,
in sales.
Lawrence, I'm sure you heard it from Councilor Gonglo. Let's take more calls. 077-105-100, 055-105-100 are the numbers to call and be live on the Hard Talk on ABC Radio 105.1. And of course, we have two guests in our studio. One is Councilor Theo Gonglo, political leader of the Liberia's People Party, and a progressive as well, a member of Moja, Mr. John Stewart, also a member of Moja. We're talking about
an LPP.
Yeah, LPP, all right.
Okay.
We're talking about the April 14, 1979 Res Riot. A couple of other issues on the show today. So let's take the calls.
Yeah, we've taken some calls. Let the councilor go ahead. I know he's seen how get to respond.
Yeah, someone talk about collaboration, and actually the question was, he said, what prevents you?
Yeah,
what
is missing?
What is missing
in Ambassador Bouaka?
And he said Ambassador Bouaka, and then somebody said, "Come and so you see, I've been like a beautiful woman in town that everybody wants, right?"
Yes.
But the question is, it's not about me, it's not about Bouaka, it's not about Cummings.
Okay.
It's about transformation. I have a 10-point agenda for transforming Liberia to a better country. If we agree on the values that I stand for, that I think are good for Liberia, that should be the foundation of any collaboration, putting the Liberian people interest first. For example, I'm the only aspirant that I've said, When I become president, the president's salary and benefit will be on the internet.
So do you think they're not in line with some of your ideologies?
They are not. I've not heard anybody say that the salaries of all the officials of government, the three branches of government, will be put on the internet and on the radio in simple English for people to know. Because you see, it will help the people to monitor how people spend money. If you are making less than $50,000 a year, and in 2 months of being government as a minister or chief justice or speaker, you are billing a $500,000 billing, everybody will be calling your station and say that person is stealing, because the law says you cannot receive a gift more than $250. That is what. So you cannot say my friend in Kuwait send me money, or my friend in Saudi Arabia, or so and so. So people, because name and shame is one way to fight corruption. I want open and transparent government. Not many people want that. A lot of people are.
You think Waka don't want that? You think Congress don't want that?
I have not heard them say that. So I can reasonably conclude that they don't follow what I'm saying. All right. And also the difference between me and them is that while they are conformist in terms of what the values of the establishment, I'm a change agent. I'm a change agent. I'm prepared to die for what I believe. And that's why I've gone to jail many times. I don't know what it stands for, and that they're prepared to die for. I am prepared to die for Liberia, and I've been to jail many times, and there are 5 instances that I could have died for Liberia, not for myself. They're going to jail in 1978. They've been beating, the young man made a mistake. I was not jailed by door. I was beating on early campus and stripped naked. And sent to, and then I end up at the Cooper Hospital. In 2002, I was put in jail, stripped, completely nude, and made to pump tire over 2,000 times that I couldn't walk. Torture for you people, journalists. I was the only lawyer freeing journalists from jail.
You said that happened in 2002?
Yeah, 2002, April 24. And I was spending 7 days at SD Cooper Hospital, 150 countries in the world.
2002 was during the region of
Charles Taylor. 150 countries, including, sent petition to President Taylor not to further detain me, and the Security Council issued statement. The EU, Uruguay, and one of the other countries, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, the Congressional Human Rights Committee of the U.S. Congress, everybody stood up. VOA, BBC were full of statements about me. That saved my life. And why did I go to jail? That was for the Liberian people. I was standing up for the poor, for people who were saying things against government. I testified before the Liberian Senate 2 weeks before that. And I said the Senate was wrong to sit down and allow sanctions imposed on our country under Taylor's regime, because they had the right to impeach him. He was not governing well. Because in 1930, 72 years before their time, 10 senators told President Charles D.B. King, according to the League of Nations, you are responsible for sending Liberians to Fernando Po. If you and your vice president are responsible, if the two of you don't resign, we will impeach you, because we're not allowed the League of Nations to sanction our country. And the president and the president walked from our office, went and wrote a letter of resignation. His vice president wrote a letter of resignation. That was before BBC, that was before internet. I come in 2002 in this modern world. 30 senators are referred to do what 10 senators did. I strongly believe, and then after that, I gave an expert paper at the Manoroba Union Civil Society Conference in Conakry, Guinea. I was invited to give expert paper, and the paper is on the internet. What can civil society do to prevent civil conflict and to mediate in civil conflict? And I said in that paper that civil society leaders should not be members of opposition parties or the ruling party, because that put them in a position to be internal mediators in times of conflict. They would then be objective, they would be respected. That was fair. I think because I say in that paper, when I say the conditions in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone were the same prior to the December 24, 1989 conflict, that is why the conflict affected the three countries. And I said, when you enter a town and some of the town, the roof are asbestos, zinc, and some thatch roof, you need to burn all of them individually. But you enter a town and you see thatch roof houses, huts, you just need to touch one and all of them will burn. Now what happened? The war started in Liberia, but the social, economic, and political conditions in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia were the same. No democracy, virtual one-party, virtual one-party state in terms of what the government. People didn't have jobs, and the level of poverty was high in the three countries. So when the conflict started in one, it easily spread to the other two. Ivory Coast didn't have that condition because their foreign economy was much better. So when I came back in less than a week, Hassan Belete now was editor-in-chief of the Analyst newspaper, who had the Global Rights Project. The Global Justice Project. He published the entire speech. And then after that, I was arrested by the police and tortured. I spent only one night in jail, but it was one long night. I was tortured. The next morning, I couldn't walk. When Jiffan Verdier, Councillor Jiffan Verdier, the late Councillor Suta, who became George, the late Samuel Clark, and Augustine too, came down in the basement for me and they said, "Oh, Councillor, we are here. Councillor Augustine too. We are here to carry you to say they're about to investigate you." They thought it was normal. I had the iron railing in the basement of the police cell, and I too thought I could walk. Not knowing the over 2,000 pump tire I did had loosened my joint that I couldn't walk. So when I stood up, as soon as I left the iron railing, I collapsed. Then the late George Suda started crying. How can they treat a human being like this? I couldn't see with one eye because I punched many times in the eye. My right ear, I couldn't hear for a long time until I went to the United States and did some medical thing because the U.S. government, the Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch got me out of here. The U.S. government gave my entire family asylum and we went to America. So this is the kind of thing we've been through. I could have chosen to do work for the government, work for companies, and not speak about Liberia. But I want my country to be transformed, to be comfortable for me to live in like anyone. That's why I keep fighting for transformation. And I've been an advocate criticizing government. I resigned from President Salih's government. I said, 300,000 people did not die for us to come and do the same thing, to be having corruption and all of that. We cannot compromise this. In the 5th year of a government, I left. But I stayed until the end, 12 years. So, talking about value system, we are different when it comes to standing up for Liberia, even at the risk of our lives. So we are different. There's no candidate, including the president, who has sacrificed one comfort for Liberia. There's none. And you have, as a leader, you have to be prepared to die for your people. You see the Ukrainian leader?
President Weah was a part of the disarmament process. He helped disarm young Liberians who were in arms.
I said,
that is a contribution.
How was that? I didn't say contribution. I said, what has anyone sacrificed?
That could be a sacrifice as well, by helping to disarm.
One could classify that as a sacrifice.
It qualifies more as for contribution than sacrifice.
Sacrifice. There are information when you take he was helping.
When you
take various display camps,
when you take,
that's different from sacrifice.
That's contribution. There's a difference between contribution and sacrifice. Sacrifice goes to denial of comfort, or comfort or your freedom.
Now, there were times that the report says he contributed.
Sacrifice. It's not a contribution.
Sacrifice. You talk about denial.
No, but listen, if you talk about contribution,
that's a soft.
That's
a soft. It doesn't cost you anything.
In 1990,
does it cost you anything?
Okay.
You see, the guy in Ukraine. I mean, I'm not talking about which side, but the man goes down as a leader.
You mean Zelensky?
Yes. The Americans came for him when the war started and said, "Look, you can't fight Russia. We are prepared to give you lift." He said, "I'm not looking for lift. I want assistance to defend the sovereignty of my country." That is requiring leadership. The late Dr. Amos Sawyer displayed that before me. When Taylor attacked the town, it looked like he was going to take the town. He had taken part of Pinsville, part of Garnersville, and the Ecomont base are almost being overrun by the LEC there. The late, what the commander name? Olorin came. I was executive assistant, so I said, Mr. President, I came to take you to an alternative location. He said, we're on a high sea, on the frigate. We have an alternative location. We don't want you to die. There were 600 displaced people in the Duco who had come there because of the autopause. Dr. Sawyer said, Taylor will kill me here if you are unable to defend Monrovia. But I will not take a foot from here because all these people came because I'm here. And if I leave, what hope do they have? So I will die here. And General Olorin said, sir, it will not happen. That is what leadership requires. You must be prepared to die. It's not a retirement job for anyone. Like Mr. Cummings retired, that's not a retirement job. Or Omer Bwaka, that's not a retirement job. I work with Dr. Sawyer. It's a 24-hour job. You don't, at night, 3 o'clock, we used to be meeting to prepare for a peace conference in Yamoussoukro or something. We are writing speech 2 o'clock in the morning. We are doing different things. It is a restless job. You see, when you watch the TV, when Obama was on that Bin Laden situation, he didn't sleep at night until what was planned had happened. He was sitting with the generals. That's what that office requires. It's not a joking place. It's not a place to rest. You know, one time, the advisors of President Sawyer came, the late Ambassador Fangalo, Ambassador Brewer, Ambassador Peter Johnson. And in the morning, 8 o'clock, I would go to the president's apartment with Aduko. And they said, where is the president? He came 9 o'clock. I said, the president is still sleeping. They said, shut up. Don't ever you say that. I said, well, the president is sleeping. They said, shut up. Then Ambassador Peter Johnson said, next time anybody comes around the president, just say the president is indisposed. Because the president is the commander-in-chief of the country. If the enemy know that the president is sleeping, they will attack, and there will be no commander-in-chief to command the army.
Of course.
That's the theory behind it, that you're president 24 hours.
Indisposed.
So, yes, I learned that. I'm sure you will learn it today. Because being indisposed does not mean you are sleeping. It just means you are not available at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
The condition in, nobody know.
Okay.
The president is not sick. The president is indisposed.
All right, Councillor Theo Gonglo.
Yeah.
Let me few more calls.
Today is a learning day.
Yes.
So you see, somebody call for Bwaka, another then a coming supporter call for coming, and I'm right in the middle.
And you have two positions for the already.
So yeah, you know,
you the hot cake.
Yeah, so let them
Everybody
forget
wants
it.
to align with you.
I have the strength. For example, I have everything above we are and the other contenders. I have gone to 13 counties. No one will go to even 10 because the ring is about to start.
And the last time I was shocked when you told me that you slept in one of the towns in Sino. We talk about I slept in Pinestown. I was like, hey, it's a difficult place to reach.
You've been to Pinestown?
Yes, I'm from Sino.
Oh, okay.
Which Pinestown are you from?
I didn't sleep in Pinestown. I went there early in the morning and spent some time. Then from there, I went to Juazon.
Okay. 0777-105-100-055.
And then I appear on Liberty Radio.
100. Let's talk to a few of you. Hello. What's your name? Where you call from? Go to Facebook, log on to ABC Radio 105.1 official. Go to YouTube, the same thing. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello, what's your name? One minute, Emmanuel.
Which question?
What is the question? Where was he coming? Where was he coming, my brother? Was it not in Liberia? Where is he from? Where is he from? But myself asking you now, where President we are come from? If that,
they're coming back home.
But man, if that Didier Drogba come from Europe to handle Liberia, then we say he sacrificed. In a way, it could be sacrificed too. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
You got Councilor Gonglo smiling.
Go ahead. 1 minute. But the message said, none of the people are sacrificed for this country. Baka will be a vassal. I driving girl for him. Hello.
You think they will accept that?
What's your name? Where you call from? 1 minute.
Very.
Okay.
He's here with his broom as usual.
He may get a broom. Hello.
That's sweeping corruption.
Good evening. What's your name? Go ahead, email.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you also, my brother. So I think you're going to
We
be
have
telling,
to go. Let's
me
go
thank you.
the
Me and Theo are going to be telling us thank you too, because we endeavor a lot. As the Congo know when the office to go back in or to come
Yeah,
show.
it was not something small to bring Councilor Gonglo here today. You know, he's a busy man.
Of course.
Took up time off his schedule. In fact, bro, not a member of the on a holiday.
I should my beautiful wife.
Yeah.
The other sacrifice.
So I do not sacrifice again.
Yeah.
So Council, you have like 5 minutes. You and your.
Let's close up.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Stewart.
Well, thank you for having us to provide some insight on what happened. But I would like to just on the last note, talking about sacrifice. There was a time in this country when everything was broken apart. 1990, everything was broken apart, and Councilor Gonglo, volunteered along with others to come to Liberia. In September 1990, he left the U.S. to come back to help stitch the broken pieces of Liberia together. And that was on September 24th, 1990, when he landed here in Monrovia, broken down Monrovia, warring factions, Prince Johnson on one side, EFA on the other side, and MPFA on the other side. Everybody's all around, where Prince Johnson had even threatened to execute him.
You mean his own kinsman?
Yes.
Prince Johnson, Senator Prince Johnson now.
Yes. But the story will be told. We got a long story, so but it will be told.
Councilor Gonglo, what's your relationship with your kinsman, Senator Johnson?
I don't have any problem.
Did you talk to him?
Yes, I talked to him.
But you one person who called for war crimes court.
Yeah, but that's my view. I was
because of that. Justice. Because of that, you guys.
No, but we talk normally. Oh yeah, we talk normally.
We tell him about the war crimes court.
I can call him right now. You will answer.
Would you feel good seeing your kinsman going to jail because of his participation or his involvement into the 14 years of civil crisis in Liberia?
But I told you, justice.
Following your call for war.
What does justice have to do with kinsmanship?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because the Congo just closed up, we have to go. No time.
No, I just want to say government has to change. Government has to be in accordance with our constitution and international law. The same thing that government's retaliation for people protesting continues today. You see the students of University of Liberia, crushed by this government's supporters. July 26th, you've seen, police crushing students. Citizens protest should not be met with violence. And that same thing continues today.
I think you mentioned a name. The person said, "My name is Hassan Belete." I want to hear from the two esteemed studio guests. I think Hassan Belete you talk about. Anyway, he tried calling, but we couldn't pick a call. So
Hassan Belete was editor-in-chief of the analyst paper. Yeah, okay. So I'm just saying we want Liberia to be peaceful. Okay. And peace can only come through good governance that is consistent with rule of law. And we allow people to disagree. I can say that you are the most handsome man in Liberia. Other Liberians, maybe 20 Liberians have a right to say they have never seen anybody so ugly in the world like you. Those two statements have a right to equal protection. That's what they call democracy. Yeah? Okay. So I want Liberians to vote for themselves, to campaign for themselves, for Liberia's transformation for a better country, so that this country can be a sweet land of liberty for all. I want a country that nobody will want to depart from, and every Liberian will want to run to wherever they live. That is sweet Liberia. That's the Liberia that I want. Thank you very much.
Councillor Theo Ngonglo and Mr. John Stewart have been our guests on the presentation of the Hard Talk. Of course, he has been a special one on April 14, 2023. My name is Anthony Jiffan. Dear Williams.
Well, it's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you ever so much for being with us. We have to go. Time is now our friend in this business. And we will leave you on this note. Have yourselves a great day and happy fast and prayer day once again.